Shut up and sit down.
Hello, and today we have got stand-up comedian Ryan Woods. Ryan, well done. Hello, nice to meet you. How are you doing?
Hello, nice to meet you. Pretty swell, thank you. How are
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Enjoying this bit of cooler weather that we're having at the moment. I don't know if it's cool where you are up in. Is it Liverpool you are?
Yeah, but it's muggy is the way to describe the weather where we are. Where it's grey and cloudy outside, but it's sweltering. You know?
So stand up, tell me about it. How did it start? What made you get in front of a microphone?
Honestly, I think I was that kid, like as a child, just constantly attracting attention and trying to make people laugh. The class clown, all that jazz. And then sort of tried to be a real grown up and do proper jobs, but kept getting sort of drawn towards stand up. And then during the pandemic, I'm sure a million people have got that story. I'm going to do something different. And then the pandemic ended, and by that time, I took a job at the NHS, but ended up still going to hot water. I basically got into an argument with a mate of mine where we'd spent about a year, because I was also working at a pub doing a pub quiz um, after the pandemic. And we would sit there afterwards saying how funny we were and that we should go and do stand-up comedy. And I texted her one morning saying that the hot water open mic was on and that she should go and that she was a mad shit house if she didn't. And then I sent the text. And then as I sent the text, I was like, the fuck are you talking? Can you swear on this?
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, no
Oh
problem.
my God. How the fuck are you talking to? Go yourself this shit bag. So I was like, okay, cool. Walked down to hot water and didn't get on, but did see an absolutely insane comedian by the name of Adam Hughes, who's a wild man. But he's very stream of consciousness as a comedian. It's him on stage, but with the amps turned up to 11. I didn't quite realise that you could be as funny as he was doing this type of comedy that he was doing. And it immediately clicked in me that that was a similar style of comedy, not the same person, that man's nuts, but the same style of comedy where it's not about like setups and punchlines. It's every line's meant to be funny.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So, and that's your preferred type of comedy, is it?
I find I find myself to be quite a zesty guy in real life, and I love things way too much. I have an abundance of enthusiasm for things, and I find that funny when like you get so frustrated by the things that you love. And I think if you can tell that in short ways,
Yeah.
badly, if you can describe your life badly in short form, people will laugh at that.
When you're talking about that, like your own life and your own passions and what have you, how
Mm.
do you document that? Do you keep it all in your head, or do you have a notebook, or do you keep it on your phone? How do you process that? Everything's in
So
a notebook.
it's a combination of everything really, because everything you just said. Because some stuff, like if I haven't got a notebook on me, or if I'm like it's in my backpack and I can't be bothered, I'll just jot it down in my phone. Maybe it's a line, maybe it's not. And they're funny because you come back to it 6 months later and you're like, Obama, peanut butter sandwich, ice cream. None of that makes sense. I don't know what it was meant to be. And then sometimes you come back to it and be like, oh, that's actually the beginning of a bit.
Yeah.
Um, and similarly with my notebook, I've been able to like do like writing exercises in there, and then from having something to refer back to, I can go and write other things. But most of the things that you write, or most of the best things I've ever written, weren't done in a notebook beforehand. It was an off the cuff remark that I made on stage that I've then gone and extrapolated on a bit or riffed on with the audience, like an in
Mm.
joke with the crowd
Yeah.
on the night. And I've tried to take that same in joke and repeat it on other nights, and it doesn't work. So it's I don't know if I have a process or anything about writing, but
Yeah.
I think I'm just still in the stage of flinging stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah, yeah. And obviously, if you have a really good gig and like you say, the audience are sort of really warm into you and stuff, sometimes that can help
Mm.
send your material in a different way, can't it? And then you think, actually, that was good. I'm going to build on that because that's the reaction that I,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
so it is
Oh,
a work in process at all times, really, isn't it? Even if you've got something
this
solid.
is this is one of my favourite things about an open mic, where like when I first started, I used to have almost like a word for word script of everything that I have to say.
Mm,
And now I just go in with a topic and I just try and talk about that for 5 minutes without having any script
yeah,
and just see what comes from that. And then you take the best things from those little experimental gigs into a proper gig like a hot water or a Peter Frog, and then
yeah.
fingers crossed it goes well.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. So can I just quickly ask you then, you said obviously this came about during COVID, this idea, this little seed that this is what you really want to do. Like most people, we all decided actually there's more to life than what we've been doing. What did you do beforehand, and has that helped you inform material?
I have had so many jobs over the years. Started out at 15 in the Yellow Park Ballroom, which is not the Yellow Park Ballroom, sorry, the Yellow Park Bingo Hall, slightly less classy. Um, and to get pinched by octogenarian women. It was a life. And it was also like back in the day, not to give away how old I am, but like you could smoke back in those days. It was a
Yeah,
bingo hall, so like the
yeah.
entire ceiling was just a cloud of yellow smoke. And that was strange. It was before the smoking ban, but after the ban on Two Fat Ladies, 88.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't know that there was a ban on Two Fat Ladies, 88. I was just a lucky 15-year-old, 3 months shy of his 16th birthday with a fresh national insurance card. And they let me call one game of bingo, and I said two fat ladies 88, and then a bunch of fat ladies shouted at me.
I've got to be honest, I
Strange.
didn't know that you couldn't say that anyway. I didn't realize that had been banned.
Oh, that was yeah, that went the way of the dodo back in 2003. I'll have you
Oh
know.
my God,
Uh,
bloody hell.
yeah, I've
Oh,
worked in Subway for like 5 years, which gave me one of my favourite stories because it gave me my first gay experience, um, where one of the lads in Subway, he really fancied me, so we got after it a bit, um, which I find really funny because I used to be a Catholic altar boy, and to have gone so far from those roots
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
is is right up my alley. Um, but it's also like even looking at those incidents in isolation or
Yeah,
juxtaposition with each other,
yeah,
you then flip the Subway story to my life now, where I'm married to a lady with a
yeah.
baby and everything. I'm all grown up, but yeah, still very queer, but still. Anyway, you were asking about jobs. No, anyway,
That's all right. No,
uh,
I'm just curious if you were able to choose, take some of the things that have happened to you in previous jobs and make them part of your routine. Because obviously, life it can be incredibly funny, especially the people that you work with, as you've just said in Subway. That's given you a sketch.
yeah, well, I think there's life experiences that I needed from every career that I had. So like I spent a bunch of years in like admin for HMRC or the financial services industry. I spent 5 years as a chef. That was cool as
Oh,
hell, but
wow.
also you'll never work harder for less money. And
Yeah.
then I've just finished, or I'm just about to finish, 5 years doing recruitment admin for the NHS because they needed help during the pandemic, and I got
Yeah.
really annoyed at people who were clapping and not helping, so I went and helped.
Yeah.
But now I don't need to. Now I need to go and be a comedian, so
Yeah.
I'm leaving next week.
Yeah.
Uh, but in answer to your question, like all of these things helped me be a better comedian. I think if I'd have tried to get into comedy as a 20 something, I'd have
Mm.
been too much of a dick, quite frankly. Um,
What, you mean no
like,
life skills or anything like no life experiences? Is that what you mean?
no, I was just an angry 20 something,
Oh,
like in the
right.
way
Okay.
that only 20 somethings can be, really, where they've
Yeah.
realised how awful the world is and they're furious about it, but they don't know what to do, so they're just mad at everyone. Uh, and I think that was most, and also drunk. I was a terrible drunk throughout all of my 20s to the point of like blackouts and waking up in the Latvian drunk tank, true story. Uh, and I was sober in moments. But now I don't drink at all. And I think if I drank and I was a comedian, I'd have gotten myself cancelled by now, surely.
Yeah.
Probably kicked out the house.
Oh, bless. Now, talking about home, obviously you said you got a family and a baby now. How
Mm,
difficult is it? Because obviously stand-up comedy, I think really is bloody hard because you have to put in an awful lot of miles in traveling, often for 5 minute, 5 or 10 minute slots, an open mic particularly. Um,
mm,
and talking to somebody who used to do it a long time ago, they were shocked at how little is, that comedians get nowadays in a stand-up comic evening. But with family, it must be twice as hard. How do you juggle those two things?
So I think first of all, my wife is amazing.
Mm.
Uh, and she does a lot of the lifting when I'm well, she does all the lifting when I'm not at home.
Yeah,
And to have a partner who's that supportive is a blessing, and I'm constantly grateful for it. The other side of that though is I need to be very present when I am here.
yeah.
So like when I'm here, I'm making sure don't ever call her to do babysitting, by the way, not makes me mad. I just really like the girl, she's boss. So I just hang out with her as much as I can, you know.
Yeah.
Um, it is hard, but you have to keep trying your best and you keep communicating. You keep saying, okay, babe, I've got this gig on this date and this gig on this date.
Yeah.
And okay, well, you can't really book anymore because that's a bit much, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. But yeah, so yeah, I think we've had a lot of patience with each
Yeah.
other. Certainly, she's had a lot of patience with me.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, it's it's also really funny. Like my kid is now getting to that stage where she's just started like developing a sense of humor, even though she hasn't developed words yet. Like she'll do things like get really like pull a cute face and then
Yeah.
just lunge at you and bite your face. She's got no teeth. Well, she's got a couple of little chompers in the bottom, but like she's funny.
And
And it also really stressed me out because the wife could make her giggle and I couldn't
oh,
for ages. For ages, that's my whole thing. Just making people giggle and I couldn't make my baby giggle. And then
your
eventually,
worst
thanks to
critic.
another comedian called Emerson Young, he gave me a prop. It was a dinosaur puppet
Mhm.
with T-Rex. Oh, I wish it was in here. No. Uh,
Ah,
but I played that with him and that made her laugh a bunch. So, no better feeling, by the way. No gig in the world, no audience in the world got a better laugh than my baby.
no, absolutely. I would say definitely. Now, have you found that being a dad is starting to creep into your material?
Yeah, yeah. uh, several reasons. Firstly, when I found out I was going to be a dad, I was a lot bigger than this, and I set out to lose a bunch of weight. So I've got a dad bod that's 50 pounds lighter than the one that was there previously, which is just funny in and of itself. But also, um, I do things like buy dad clothes and a dad bag. I bought like a Canamore 40 litre Dadmatic 5000. It's got clips on it so you can clip other bags to it. It can fit more nappy bags in there, like the big packs of nappy. I can fit 3 of them into the big 3 big nappy packs into one bag. And there's still the room for all of the other stuff in there as well, and my stuff.
Yeah.
I love that bag with all
And
my
you're
heart.
now hands-free with that bag. You're hands-free. That's definitely a
Yeah,
dad
yeah.
bag.
But this is the thing, like for the Skyrim fans out there, whenever me and the family go out anywhere, I go full Lydia and I'm like, I'm sworn to carry your burdens. And I just fill the thing up, and nothing makes me feel more like a dad than a full bag and a pram in front of me.
Oh, well, let's hope that for many years to come, she provides you with even more material, possibly about yourself more than about her. So, family, there's
Oh,
nothing
God, yeah.
happier.
The only joke I've got about her is the frequency and accuracy with which she kicks me in the balls. Uh, from angles I didn't even know could be done. She's a genius.
Oh dear. Right, getting back to comedy. Now,
Hmm.
obviously, you've done a lot of gigs. You've talked about all your open mic that you do. Do you have a
Hmm.
favorite venue or a favorite gig that you've done so far?
Oh, I can't remember the name of the venue right now. It was for crack. It was the Crack Factory in Newcastle,
Uh-huh.
run by Oscar Spenceley and Connor Rawls, two lovely lads. But it was the first time I'd ever been to Newcastle. I had a bunch of uni mates from there when I went to uni in Lincoln back in the day. So straight away, I already had a bunch of material ready for the good people in Newcastle, which they really liked. Got me straight on board with them, and then from there, like had the best gig of my life up to that point. But
Yeah.
it was a mad gig just getting there because like Lou Black, one of my best comedy mates, she lives out in Wales somewhere. She drove from Wales to Liverpool, picked me up at 5, lead footed it to Newcastle for half 8.
Oh,
We got out of the car, walked into the venue just as the first break was ending. Host goes on. Uh, then Lou goes on and smashes. Then I went and smashed. And we got back in the car, picked up a Palmo each on the way out to Newcastle, and then drove back to Newcastle because both of us had work the next morning.
oh my
Uh,
God.
but that Palmo, like, honestly, tasted like triumph. Beautiful. Uh,
Oh,
but yeah, that was a cool gig because I had like a girl in the front row who just thought everything I said was hilarious, which is lovely, always like that. And I noticed as well when I came in, like it's a strangely, it was a small room, but it
yeah.
still had like 50 people in there, and it's well lit as well. Uh, so you can see them all. And there's a guy at the back who kind of looked like a Mitchell brother, and I was expecting him to hate me, but he was loving everything I was saying as well, and I was like feeling really good about myself until I looked into the middle of the crowd, and there's one girl who sat there like, and then I became obsessed with her.
Oh
So
no.
then I started like fielding all of my material to her, and she's not laughing. So I'm starting to like panic a bit. So I look to the front row, the girl in the front row is still dying at everything I'm doing and saying. That's great. I look at the back row, the guy over there with the gammy head, he's having a great time. And then look back at her, and she's not laughing, but her friends are because they've got in on the fact that she isn't. So they're laughing harder at everything I'm saying now. And then I've got like my last joke has a bit in the middle of the setup where I talk about the guy from Subway's bed as he leans in to kiss me. His bed goes nope and collapses. And as it collapses, I drop from my feet to my bum. Uh, and as it's quite a surprise. And as I did it, as I was going down, I just saw her go, and I was like, I've got to hear from you because everything from the getting up to the end of my set is punchlines. So
Oh,
I threw all of my punchlines out. Everyone laughed. Everyone clapped. Oh, what a
y-
cheesy thing to say, but it's true.
oh,
And yeah, that
that-
trip home felt like $1 million.
oh, I bet. I bet. And it gears you up for the next one, doesn't it? And knowing that, people have
Mm.
laughed and that the jokes have landed, that's just must have been felt really good. So yeah. And hecklers. What about hecklers? How do you
It,
deal with
it,
them?
it, it, uh,
Maybe you've been lucky and you haven't had any yet. I mean, heck,
so I don't, I don't necessarily know if I've dealt with a proper heckler. I think I've had some people who try and like join in with the set and try and shout encouraging material
yeah.
or think something that they think would be funny in response to like my setup or whatever. And sometimes they'll step on my punchline or whatever.
Mm,
Uh, but in those situations, you go, yeah, that was the punchline. Thank you for
yeah.
telling it, but let me tell it,
Yeah.
and that's enough. And then sometimes when like the other times as well, like I've done a lot of hosting, so I'm sort of encouraging people to talk to us in those spots. So yeah, I don't think I've really had much heckling to deal with. The only times I've been like, "What did you say?" and then repeated it, and then just gone, "No one cares."
Yeah, yeah. So you're quick to just get
And
in
that's
there and just sort of flatten it as quick as possible. Because it must be really,
yeah,
really unnerving, because you've got a plan in your head how you're going to say it. It obviously that would differ over different evenings with different audiences. And to have someone, shouting or whatever midway through a story, that must be really off-putting. And I've always commended stand-ups for being able to handle that because, wow, yeah, I couldn't do that, I have to say. I'm certainly not a heckler, that's for sure.
I really would like because I say to like a lot of open mics and support like the other comedians and stuff. I really worry when comedians ask for like responses. Um, like you're all having a good night, that kind of stuff. I don't want to like over get involved.
Yeah, yeah,
And I think honestly, there's not that many people. I think heckling's not that big an issue, certainly at my level. Maybe like the pros have to deal with it more than me.
mm,
Uh, but also like comedians are brutal, funny people, and
yeah,
like as a heckler, it's just like your shit. Like most comedians, and I'm generally a little sweetie, so I'll not be nasty to you, but some comedians will put you in therapy, man. Like, but but my old business partner Becky Queen of Ducks, she used to brutalize hecklers, like just make just the amount of time the word micro penis could get said in a minute. Uh, oh, impressive. I once
Well,
saw Melina Fiol actually.
yeah, well,
There's a girl called Melina Fiol, phenomenal comedian. There was a guy who tried to make a heckle about roofing women,
yeah,
and she walked to his seat, had him explain it as he got more and more awkward and small, and then destroyed him in front of all of his friends, and all of his friends laughed at him, and then he was sad. That's the
yeah.
best response I've ever seen to a heckle.
Well, thankfully that you haven't had to endure too much of that by the sounds of it, because yeah, fair play. Yeah, I wouldn't want to take on a comedian, that's for sure, not in front of everyone. So with you, Ryan, what's next? What have you got coming up?
Oof. So I've actually got quite a packed month coming up. For July, I even made some notes about this and everything. So, firstly, I'm going to Derby on the 1st of July. Uh, I didn't write the venue name there or on the fine. In that case, 10th of July, we're going to Birmingham to do the Hollybush Takeover. That's me and a bunch of other Northwest comedians going down south just a little bit to Birmingham to do the Hollybush is quite a big
Yeah.
gig for a guy like me. I'm really excited. I've been
Oh,
dying
no.
to get down that way for ages.
Nice.
Plus Birmingham being where it is as well, like it's quite close to a bunch of different friends of mine. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping we can all get together, like mates that I haven't seen in a while as well, and have a little catch up beforehand.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be dead cool. But the biggest two that I'm most excited about, the first one is in Preston on the 15th of July. It's called Make the Ferret Mad Again. It's run by a wonderful Phil Milton. That guy's amazing. One of the best one-liner comics you're ever going to see. But also, weirdly, one of the best musical comics you're ever going to see as well. Like, he's got a band called Monsters of the Scene. Um, they've got a song on Spotify. It's called Send Us Your Dick Pics. It's absolutely disgusting, but also hilarious and surprisingly wholesome for doing that content. And then the biggest thing that I've got going on at the minute is the Morecambe Fringe Festival.
Yeah.
So that's starting all of July, but I'll be there on the 20th. But it's got the lineup for this. I had to double take on this because Peter Edge is doing it. Peter Edge has got the funniest clean joke I've ever heard since starting comedy. It's also got Jacqueline Fontaine, who's amazing. Uh, and I think Donna Lloyd and Nia Williams and Mark Quinn are all going to be there when I'm there. That's sometimes when I do compilation shows, I pick because I want to be the best comedian that I can, and
Yeah.
sometimes I pick a compilation show because I want to watch the other comedians that I'm going with, and I
Yeah.
just get to
Yeah.
be a fan. And
Yeah.
all of the other comedians that I'm on this show with, I just get to watch and enjoy, and that's the best feeling.
Oh,
But
fantastic.
also, Kate McCabe, Kate McCabe's doing a double show. Kate McCabe's amazing. So get down to the Morecambe Bay Fringe Festival all of July. Like, I cannot stress how many like comedians you will get to see there. Aaron Wood's there, Keith Carson's there, who in like 5 years you're like, oh, I got to see that guy at Morecambe Bay. for
Yeah.
nothing or next to nothing.
Yeah.
And now they're like 25 at the door or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I must admit, it's fantastic having the Fringe festivals. I mean, we have a local one here, Fringe Festival, and I've seen some brilliant comedians. And like you say, it's generally you're paying next to nothing to get in, you know, and you're seeing these brilliant comedians. So, but yeah, support. And if there's a pay but what you can, always put money in, always put money in. Don't ever walk out without putting some money in someone's hat. I think it's really important. What I'll do, Ryan, is if you we'll put those dates underneath this video so people can see where to
Sweet.
find you. And also social media. What social media links are you on? What are you on?
Instagram at the Ryan Woods Comedy. Same for TikTok. Ryan Woods on Facebook, but that'd be a bit weird. See what happens.
Okay, I'll put those on as well. But I tell you what, it's been really lovely to catch up with you. And maybe what we can do is maybe have another catch up after you've done the festival, the Fringe Festival.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And then we
I'd be
can
game
just
for that.
see how it went. I'd love to know. It'd be great to have a follow-up chat. All right, Ryan. Well, thank you ever so much for coming on today.
Thanks for
And
having
we
me.
shall speak to you soon. And all the very best for all those gigs. All right.
Cheers. See you later, man.
Bye.
Bye.